Blackbox project.
Blackbox. Blackbox.
Blackbox.
Blackbox.
Blackbox.
Let's discuss the gap between education and industrial robotics. What does this mean? Right now, the industry has toys and they have industrial robotics. On one side, toy-style robots are being used in the educational system to teach students about robotics. However, this does not allow students to gain manufacturing skills or industrial robotics experience to enter the workforce after graduation.
There's really not much of a workforce that's well trained to be able to go directly into a job that involves some of these systems.
So how do we fix this issue? A select group of interns were tasked with developing a new mechanism that bridges the gap between educational tools and industrial robots.
Like there was a challenge, and the challenge was to do an integration about what is industrial robotics and educational robotics.
How are we going to make this Yaskawa robot communicate with this VEX robot? In order to bridge this gap, you have to understand both sides. You have to understand VEX and you have to understand industrial robots. The interns worked through the VEX curriculum to understand VEX.
We were able to do it in 3 days. It was really fun.
Really anyone, even if you had no experience with robotics, you can pick up the manual, get the kit, and you'll be able to figure it out.
To understand robotics, the interns participated in a NIMS accredited Intro to Robotics course through GenFlex.
The GenFlex curriculum that we have Introduction to Robotics, both the Smart and Standard pendant. I helped to develop both those curriculums.
It's very easy, it's very simple, and I think it's a great tool to get started in robotics, especially in middle schools, high schools.
And we have a block that represents Yaskawa, and we have another block that represents VEX robotics, but there is not something that connects them.
When we sat down to go do the meeting about the Blackbox idea, I was thrilled. Nobody had really done it.
Prior to this, there was no way to work VEX and Yaskawa together. They were just incompatible.
The biggest breakthrough was when we basically figured out that it was possible.
We noticed that we had the tools available, so there's software on both sides that will allow to communicate.
Being able to see the Yaskawa and VEX start communicating even at the earliest stages, that was incredible.
To be able to have that link between a toy and the real world was just huge.
So the Blackbox in the most simple sense is it's basically just a translator between VEX and Yaskawa.
This is what schools want to see next.
It's really nice for the schools to have all the old VEX components still being used, but having an actual industrial robot and the system on the industrial robot, so people will be familiar with all the components they used previously, but also learning actual skills that they will use in the future with industrial robots like this.
We are making a transition to industrial robotics.
It basically gives you a path to more advanced education.
By integrating toy robots and industrial robots using the Blackbox, we have now created the next step for education and robotics. Within this project, there are two main components that will help elevate robotics in education. Number one, the Blackbox, which we now understand allows industrial robots to communicate with the VEX model. Number two, the ASTM cart. This cart conforms to all ASTM standards for robotics STEM carts.
So ASTM International is an organization that creates standards for products around the world to prevent them from clashing with one another. Creating these standardized rules we want will make product interoperability much easier. This will help future generations be able to work with whatever resources they have in order to gain the knowledge they want about any topic in robotics.
Conductivity is crucial when developing new technology in today's industry. By having two different devices speaking to each other, we can say that the Blackbox project is Industry 4.0 ready.
Once we knew it could be done, then there was basically no limit.
I mean, the possibilities, I will not say they are endless, but there's a lot of potential here.
The way Blackbox works is just a question of which library you use, and you can use it with most of the other robots. Integration of any robot is super easy to use.
So really, any industrial robot could work with VEX. I'll leave you with this question. Can your robot talk VEX?